Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's March 25th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And there's a lot of it, presented as always by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And, well, Matt, the time is now for Miami basketball, man. Sweet 16 tonight, but I'm not going to start with that because it seems like the game's almost tomorrow. Tip-off's going to be 10 p.m. Miami time at the earliest tonight. It might even go a little later than that. So, it's almost like tomorrow. But let's talk about the big commitment that the Miami Hurricanes got last night from twin brothers Robbie and Bobby Washington from Miami Killian. Their father was a Cane signee all the way back in 2004, Bobby Washington Sr., but he ended up playing for NC State in Eastern Kentucky, never made it to Coral Gables. We got a long way to go here with Robbie and Bobby. They're committing in March, Matt. That means we've got 9 months almost to watch Miami try to hold on to Robbie and Bobby. Robbie had actually tried to commit to the old staff, and for some bizarre reason, probably a lot to do with why they're no longer employed at the U, they didn't take the commitment. They wanted to continue evaluating, and no such move made by Mario Cristobal on Thursday night. And Matt, your thoughts on the commit, and can they hold on to these guys, for all these months?
I mean, it's my biggest problem with these commit. You know me, I'm always the negative person, right? So I have a huge problem. I don't understand this. Bobby and Robbie. Robbie is Robert, and Robert can also be Bobby as your nickname. Who's who? Like, are they both Roberts originally, and one took Bobby? One took Robbie, one took Bobby. How many Robbie Washingtons are going to be on the team?
I'll tell you how you tell them apart. Robbie's elite. Robbie is an elite.
That's how you tell them apart?
Yeah, Robbie is an elite.
I just wish listen.
Robbie's a good prospect. Robbie is off the charts, elite athletically.
Well, I'm going to call them by their middle names. One is Sam and one is Sammy. So I'm referring to them as Sam and Sammy. It's just much easier than Robbie and Bobby. I can't remember that. So Sam and Sammy are really great pickups. I talked to their coach about them. That he was the defense coordinator last year at Killian. He says Sam and Sammy are going to be absolutely amazing at Miami. He's now the defense coordinator at Carroll City. But one of the Sammys runs a 4.3. The other one runs a 4.4. One of them apparently had 7 TKOs. I told the coach, I said, "You keep a stat on a TKO? What's a TKO?"
Look at Robbie's highlight tape.
Who's Robbie? I'm confused now. Who's Robbie? Sammy.
All right, Robbie, Sammy, whatever. You're going to confuse everybody out there.
Listen, this is Bobby. Bobby Jr. had 7 TKOs. I said to the coach, I said, TKO? He's like, yeah, TKO. I'm like, I had never heard that as a statistic before. I'm like, is that they carry the guy off on a stretcher? Like, what is that? He's like, no, it's just when you run through a guy. I'm like, okay. So whatever. For those of you that know what a TKO is in football, Bobby had 7 of them, which apparently is amazing.
How many did you say Robbie had? Because I saw a bunch when I watched his highlight tape.
Well, Robbie's a guy who 4.3, returned 8 kicks/punts for touchdowns.
Amazing kick returner. Might be the best kick returner I've seen come to Miami, certainly since Barrios. But I mean, this guy.
Yeah, well, he got the Rod Woodson comparison, and poor Bobby only got a Kyle Hamilton comparison. Poor guy. So I'm sure Miami will do much better in the future. But for now, we just got a Charles Woodson and a Kyle Hamilton. You guys are gonna have to just suffer with those two for now, and we'll see if we can do better down the road.
All right, so Robbie, like I said, is just an absolutely elite athlete. And when you turn down his tape, like the first seemingly 5 minutes of it is him returning punts for touchdowns. just electrifying with the ball in his hands, and looks to me, Matt, like he's going to probably be a slot receiver.
No. He's gonna be a safety. Yeah, I mean,
you think Robbie will be a safety?
Oh yeah, he's like I said. His coach says Charles. I agree. Charles. He's a Charles Woodson type. I mean, he's a headhunter, man. He could be a slot receiver, but I think he's gonna be much more.
I don't know, man. I mean, we'll see. But I mean, I have not seen
in my top secret file, which nobody has seen ever except Gary's seen little bits and pieces of it. I have him listed as a safety / slot. So technically he could do both. But talking to the coach, I mean, the coach says he's going to be a safety. He's going to grow and be a safety. Like, and he said Bobby's going to wind up 6'4" and 225 pounds. Like, these kids have frames where they just pack on a lot of weight. And yeah, if the kid stays small, he can be a slot. I just don't think he will.
Well, I mean, I don't know. That kid looks electrifying with the ball in his hands to me.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So, but if he wants to be a safety, he can be a safety.
And the coach did also mention Tyreek Hill, like jet sweeps with the kid and things like that. Maybe he'll be like a Devin Hesterish type guy, but one who actually plays on both sides of the ball, not just like pretends to.
It's hard to play on both sides of the ball. I mean,
hard. Not if you're doing 5 plays on offense where you're going to, toss a jet sweep or throw the ball.
Why do that? I don't see that.
This team, and I don't know if it'll change in the next 2 years, but this team needs help on defense, not on offense. They're going to have amazing receivers in this class. They don't need another receiver. They need a great safety / cornerback, Charles Woodson type. Like, that's their need. He could do both.
All right, well, we'll see as time goes by. I'm just looking at what I'm seeing with my eyes, and the kid's electrifying with the ball in his hands.
He'll be a returner too, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely electrifying. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how things go. A lot might depend on who else Miami signs in this class at receiver. Do they get Brandon Innes? Do they get Santana Fleming?
Well, they're going to get, guys. I mean, they're going to get Jaylen Brown at least, and they should get one of those other 2 or 3 top receivers.
Probably an outside receiver.
One of those other top receivers will be here unless the offense just falters or they lose a ton of games.
Those are more outside receivers. Hakeem, Jaylen Brown, I see them as outside receivers. I'm talking about slot guys. We'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
But I'll just say this. Robbie, Sammy, whatever Matt wants to call him, looks electrifying to me.
Well, and let me also add this. As crazy as it sounds, I think you're going to see a lot more of tight ends, not lined up out wide, but lined up in the slot this year. That's just sort of with Jaleel Skinner. And
no doubt.
So what I'm saying is, so you don't need to waste a guy who can be an amazing defensive player who's going to play half the game in slot at most. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just spitballing. That's just my thought.
Well, Will Mallory's only here 1 more year. Arroyo's probably only going to be here for a couple more years. Obviously, Skinner's got 3 at least ahead of him. He's going to be a freak. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, listen, too much talent will be a nice problem to have. Miami's not there yet. But I'm just saying once again that when I watch the tape, and I urge all of you guys out there, watch. We've got his highlight tape embedded in the stories that are on the website today. Take a look at his highlights, see what you think. I mean, I look at him, and he looks unbelievable to me with a ball in his hands. On face value can't imagine him playing defense, but he's probably a pretty damn good safety too. So we'll see.
And guess what? They have a good chance to end this UCLA defensive end too. So today. So I mean,
I know.
Yeah. So I mean, they're rolling, man.
That visit went great. It's just a matter of whether he can stomach going across the country. But I mean, you're talking about 1 year, not even 1 year. You're talking about,
he's got to do what's best for him.
You're talking about 6-7 months. I mean, what's the big deal? I think there's a great chance he comes to Miami. How do you turn down being mentored by Jason Taylor? Okay. And Joe Salavea, and it would be a mistake in my opinion. This kid will come in. He will play. He will be immediately part of the defensive end rotation. He will probably be a starter. Probably provides better pass rushing ability right now than the guys that are at that position. Obviously, maybe we're biased, but to my eye, he should be a Miami Hurricane. That could happen today. Mitchell, he will be announcing later.
I think it will happen today. I mean, that'd be huge. I don't think they needed 3 transfers on the D line, but they need this guy. So
they
I'm not sure the other 2 were worth it. We'll find out.
You don't have one defensive lineman that's established. You absolutely do need transfers.
No, I know, but the UAB guy's hurt all spring. The UAB, I can't even watch him. He's hurt. The other guy's working with the 2s at end and mixing with the 1s at tackle. He doesn't look anything like anything that special to me yet, but what am I? I'm just a reporter, a schmuck.
We haven't seen enough on the defensive line to really judge on Jake Lichtenstein yet. I mean, it wouldn't be fair to judge him right now.
No, I agree with that.
So finishing up here on the Washington Twins, just a couple tidbits that you guys might want to know before you read the story. I mentioned Robbie had told the previous coaching staff that he wanted to commit. So probably not too big of a shock that he's back on board. He played high school in Tennessee prior to last year, has over 40 offers. Okay, that's how well regarded he is from programs like Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and Florida. So those schools are not going to just give up, Matt. I mean, this will be a fight for a while. Miami is going to have to fight to hold on to the Washington Twins.
I asked him if it's a done deal. He says it's a done deal right now, which basically means, he'll take more visits. There's going to be drama.
Yeah, I didn't like that right now. I didn't
right now, yeah.
I didn't like that right now. But look, you got Mario Cristobal on the case. He's not going to let up on these guys. And I would think Miami's got a good.
Hey, by the way, that Samuel Mpemba guy that he says that you're giving him a ride down to Miami, so he's going to come down. I saw that. He said he's definitely coming down. So it's no longer a probably. It's a definitely. He said Gary Ferman's going to take care of it.
I told you.
You were right.
I said
taking the Ferman jet.
I told you, book it. Book it. All right. Other stories on the website today. Well, actually, I didn't finish talking about Bob. Bobby has 20 offers. So not quite what Robbie has, but Bobby's a really good outside linebacker prospect.
Every time I talk to Bobby, he's like, when am I getting my extra star? He's so pissed. Imagine if it's you and your brother, your twin brother, and he's got 4 stars and you got 3. I keep telling him, I don't do the stars, Bobby. It's not my fault. We'll tell the rivals people to look at you again. I think you should be a 4-star, but who am I? Again, I'm just a reporter. What do I know?
You should do what it's whatever.
First time he asked, I said, don't worry about the stars. It doesn't matter. But he keeps asking me, so.
Yeah. All right, another recruiting story on the website today. 2025 outside linebacker Jay Card. He really wanted to commit. He just loves Miami. Was talked out of it yesterday by his coach.
And sort of his mom. And his mom a little bit.
And his mom. Probably good advice. He's 2025.
Yeah.
There's no reason he needs to commit now. If he's plenty good in 2024, they'll take his commitment. I mean, there's no reason to worry about it now. But we do have an update on him, and he was very impressed on his Miami visit. A bunch of other football stuff on the website today. You got tons of video from yesterday's practice. We had interviews with a lot of the defensive coaches yesterday. Charlie Strong, Joe Salavea, Rod Wright, and Jamil Adai. Really, really good interviews. All these coaches are so well spoken, and it's just riveting, Matt, to listen to them. And I think when you put the 4 of them together, you really walk away with some really good insight into what's going on the defensive side of the ball right now.
Yeah, yes and no. I listen. They're not giving away any secrets. Basically, the resounding message that I got was, listen, we just got here. We're still trying to build the culture. We're still getting to know everybody. We're still installing the defense. But they're encouraged. They see players that want to work hard. They see players that want to buy in. And that's the overriding message. So it's all positive. One of them even said, have you ever heard a coach say anything negative about their players in the spring? I never have. So he basically told us, he's just telling us fluff. He basically said to our faces, I'm just giving you fluff. But they said it like they meant it, so that's good.
All right. We also have a baseball preview of the North Carolina series this weekend. So if those of you interested in baseball will enjoy that. But Matt, I'm going to turn attention now to the big story coming up later today. Emphasis on the later because of the game time tonight at 10. But the Miami Hurricanes in the Sweet 16. And as soon as we finish this show, I'm headed to the airport. I'm going to be up in Chicago. We'll have coverage from up there tonight. But it's just amazing. I mean, amazing. I mean, Miami's favored in this game by 2.5 points. And they have a legit chance to be in the Elite Eight on Sunday if they go up there and play their game and don't have a poor shooting night or something crazy like that. They are better than Iowa State. They have more offensive weapons than Iowa State. The guard play is significantly better than Iowa State. When you look at Charlie Moore and Isaiah Wong and Cam McGusty. So yeah, I said it right again. I'm getting good at that one, Matt. But Miami can legitimately be in the Elite Eight on Sunday, and then you're in a one-game situation to go to the Final Four. I mean, this is unbelievable. But 1 minute at a time here. So Matt, you've taken a big look at Iowa State in the last several days, and your thoughts as tip-off approaches.
They're not big, but they're physical despite not being big, and Miami's going to struggle to score inside, so they need to hit outside shots, period. If they're still barely making 2 or 3 3-pointers a game, it's going to be a battle, man. I mean, they can still win, just like they did the last 2 games, but it's going to be a battle. I think Miami has a clear advantage in terms of guys who can score off the dribble compared to Iowa State, which is huge because Iowa State's really thriving when it's been good on its defense and getting turnovers. Miami's been the same way. Neither of these teams are going to get, I don't think, 15 turnovers. Miami's been getting over 15 turnovers in most of its wins, or right around that number. Miami's been turning the ball over under 10 times a game. Iowa State's very careful with the ball, very good passing team. So it's really going to come down to just shooting percentage, which Miami's got to score. And I think they have a better chance to get open shots than Iowa State. They just have to make those shots, And it's going to be really on Isaiah Wong because if you notice, when Isaiah Wong was terrible, which was probably about half the year, Miami struggled in those games because he would shoot the ball. He'd still shoot the ball 13, 14 times a game, and he'd hit just 3 or 4 of the shots.
I don't think he shoots enough.
In the NCAA tournament, he's been hitting all the shots. That's, to me, been the biggest difference, along with Sam Bordenberg's defense. From the regular season. So as long as Isaiah Wong is doing that, he's a guy that you can't really stop if he's shooting from the outside and hitting those shots. So he has to keep doing that. If he keeps doing that, Miami wins. If Isaiah Wong's back to the 4 for 13 stuff, it's going to be a struggle, man. I think a lot of it's on him.
Here's what I think is going to be interesting. I think Jim Larrañaga has a decision to make. When I look at the shooting percentages from the USC and Auburn games last weekend, I think it was one for they were 2 for, I guess, 21 from 3-point land. And I think a lot of that had to do with the effort that they were exerting on defense. I think that the strategy to beat those teams was to ambush them early with the scramble defense. They were playing incredibly hard the whole game. And I think that affects the shooting percentages. They don't have a lot of depth. And I think the kids maybe were a little tired, and that's why they weren't shooting quite as well as they normally do. Iowa State does not present the same offensive challenge that Auburn and USC did. And I wonder if Jim Larrañaga picks his spots a little bit more with the scramble defense, doesn't try to play it 100% of the time in this game, and kind of conserves his guys' energy a little bit, maybe with some zone and some, mixing things up a little bit to maybe try to improve the shooting percentage. Listen,
I don't disagree. The danger of that is they've been so good at running that defense. You're in a win or go home situation. If they're not good at playing the zone and man-to-man, which they haven't done a lot of in the last 2 games, and if they struggle with that for some reason, and they struggle over a 5-minute period or a 6-minute period, that could be at the end, you lose a 1-point game because of that. So I don't disagree with you. I'm not sure that they should use the scramble against the team, but I sure as hell think you come out with it and see how it goes because they've been so good. It's like, would Syracuse ever go out of their zone? They would never. That's what they do well. What Miami does well is the scramble defense, and you don't want to let the other team dictate to you, okay, we're not going to use our best defense just because maybe we don't think it matches up with you that well. I would start with it. If it doesn't work, then that's one thing. But you got to give it a shot to me. They've been playing it so well. I mean, this is as good a defensive.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. At the beginning, you're going to want to see how they handle it. But I think the key for Miami tonight is they got to get to 70. I think if Miami can get the game.
No, they're not getting to 70.
They got to get to 70. If you're playing a game in the 50s, you're leaving Iowa State in the game.
Iowa State is not going to score 60 points.
I hope you're right. But
they're not.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you're right. But I think Miami needs to be safe, needs to get to the 70s, and they're going to need to shoot better to do that. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, so we got a
Iowa
lot
State
of
wins low scoring games. That's how they win games. If Miami gets 70 points, they're going to win in a blowout, which would be great. But we'll see.
That's what I'm anticipating. So we'll see. All right, we got several layers of previews for the game tonight. We've got multiple stories, reports from the Miami and Iowa State press conferences yesterday. We've got a overall look at the Canes basketball team as the game approaches. And we also talked to four-star signee AJ Casey, who makes his prediction. He's the fourth of the signees that we've spoken to this week. All of them have been really interesting. Of course, their kids getting ready to come to join the program. So they all put Miami in the Final Four, I think, in their bracket. So give them a lot of credit for that. And it would be nice to see them be right. So a lot of preview stuff for tonight's game.
By the way, in 4 of the last 5 games, Iowa State has scored under 60 points, just to let you know. And in 2 of those games, they've scored 41 and 36 points.
Okay.
That's the last 5 games. It's crazy. They don't score, but they just play great defense.
Yeah, well, they better not be at 41 or 36 or they'll really get blown out. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But very exciting day for Miami basketball. I really hope all you guys that have been football only for so many years get excited for tonight's game and become basketball fans as well. So that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. I got to run and catch a flight. For Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see how the Canes do this weekend, and we'll try to do some post game stuff. We'll see how it goes up there in Chicago. But we'll be back with Good Morning CaneSport on Monday. Goodbye, everybody.